The biggest money mistake is hidden in plain sight. You react to excitement instead of evaluating the offer. Welcome to Money Clarity Hub. You already fell for a money gimmick and you trusted it with your money. You believed it was a smart move, but it followed a pattern that repeats more often than you think. That moment did not feel like a mistake when it happened. It felt like a precious opportunity you must take before it disappeared. Money gimmicks do not work because they are smarter than you. They work because they trigger reactions you do not notice in time. The first pattern is urgency, and it appears almost immediately in most offers. When something pushes you to act fast, your thinking time is being reduced on purpose. Real opportunities do not disappear while you pause and evaluate them. Pressure exists to make you act before you fully understand what is happening. Urgency replaces careful thinking with fast emotion without warning. When you feel rushed, you move from questioning to accepting without noticing. Another pattern is complexity, and it lowers your confidence quickly. When something sounds technical, you assume it must be valuable or advanced. Most gimmicks are simple ideas hidden behind complicated language. That confusion prevents you from asking the basic questions that would expose the truth. Authority is used to speed up your trust before you understand anything. Titles, confidence, and presentation create the appearance of credibility very quickly. You see someone who looks experienced and sounds certain. That certainty becomes your shortcut instead of real verification. Guaranteed results are one of the clearest warning signs you can notice. If something promises strong returns without risk, something important is missing. Every real investment includes uncertainty and trade-offs. When risk disappears from the explanation, honesty disappears with it. Selective stories shape your belief without showing the full picture. You see success, but you do not see the failures behind it. This creates a version of reality where results look normal and easy. That illusion lowers your guard and increases your willingness to act. Social proof adds pressure that feels convincing and hard to resist. You see others claiming results, and it starts to feel safe to follow. Many of those signals are exaggerated or even fabricated. The more people appear convinced, the harder it becomes to question the situation. At this point, something changes in how you see these patterns. The focus moves from understanding them to noticing when they are happening to you. A simple shift can change how you evaluate these offers immediately. Instead of asking what you can gain, focus on what you could lose. That shift forces you to look at risk instead of reward. It interrupts the emotional pull that drives quick decisions. Money gimmicks rely on fear and excitement at the same time. You are either afraid to miss out or excited by fast results. Both emotions reduce your ability to think clearly and carefully. That is when decisions feel easy but often turn out wrong. A typical gimmick follows a sequence that repeats again and again. It starts with a promise that sounds realistic but slightly better than expected. Then urgency is added to speed up your decision before you analyze it. This creates pressure that feels natural but is carefully introduced. Next, you are shown proof that looks convincing at first glance. Screenshots and testimonials create the appearance of consistent success. What you do not see is the full context behind those results. That missing information makes the opportunity appear safer than it actually is. Scarcity is then introduced to make the offer feel limited and rare. You are told that only a small number of people can access it. This pushes you to act before you evaluate properly. Scarcity feels real even when it is completely artificial. Pricing is also used to influence how you see value. A higher price is shown first, then reduced to create a sense of opportunity. You react to the perceived deal instead of questioning the actual value. That shift in focus is exactly what the gimmick depends on. These offers do not need to work for you in order to succeed. They only need enough people to believe and pay for them. That is why the same patterns keep appearing in different forms. Once you recognize the structure, it starts to look familiar every time. Once this becomes clear, the next step becomes practical and immediate. You begin to notice the exact moment your emotional reaction starts to take over. A simple rule can protect you from most of these situations. If you cannot clearly explain how something works, you should not trust it. Clarity forces understanding and reduces risk in your decisions. And vice versa, confusion nudges you to move forward with no awareness. Time is another powerful filter that changes how things look. Real opportunities still make sense after you step away and think. If something only works while you feel pressure, it is not reliable. Time removes emotion and exposes weak ideas quickly. Passive income is one of the most common hooks used in these offers. It sounds attractive because it promises results without effort. In reality, passive income requires work, capital, or both before it becomes stable. When effort is removed from the story, something important is hidden. You often hear words that trigger imagination and excitement. Terms like freedom and automation create a strong mental picture. That picture replaces logic with expectation in your thinking. You react to what you want instead of what is actually real. Another tactic shifts responsibility when things do not work out. If you fail, you are told that you did something wrong. This protects the system and keeps it looking effective. The blame stays with you instead of the product. Awareness changes how you see these patterns over time. You stop reacting automatically and start noticing structure. What once looked like opportunity starts to look repetitive and predictable. That shift removes the emotional pull these offers rely on. And now the clarity arrives at the moment it matters most. You begin to see the difference between reacting quickly and deciding deliberately. When you see a new opportunity, pause before taking action. That pause interrupts the momentum that was building inside you. It gives you space to observe what is actually happening. You start noticing signals that were invisible before. Ask simple questions before making a decision. What is being promised? What is being hidden? And who benefits the most? These questions expose weaknesses very quickly. They force you to look beyond the surface presentation. Look closely at what is missing from the message. Are risks clearly explained or quietly minimized in the background? Missing information often reveals more than visible claims. That is where the real truth usually sits. Compare the offer with basic financial reality you already understand. Does it align with how money actually works over time? If it looks unusually easy, it deserves more skepticism. Easy results often hide real costs that appear later. Examine who is making money in the situation. Are they earning from the strategy itself or from selling it to you? That difference reveals the true nature of the offer. Incentives tell you more than explanations ever will. If you see the trick, it loses power. See clearly with Mind Decluttering Starter Pack. Link is in the description. Strong thinking protects you more effectively than strict rules. It keeps you flexible without making you vulnerable. Focus on fundamentals instead of chasing shortcuts that promise fast results. Saving, investing, and managing risk may not feel exciting, but they work. Gimmicks sell speed because speed feels attractive and urgent. Fundamentals work because they are grounded in reality and consistency. You also need to become comfortable with missing opportunities. Not everything that looks good deserves your action. Saying no protects you more often than saying yes. Discipline is about choosing carefully, not reacting quickly. There is no shortcut that removes effort, time, and risk from building wealth. Anything that claims otherwise is selling something different. Once you accept that, the appeal of gimmicks starts to weaken. What once looked exciting begins to look predictable. The moment something feels urgent or exciting, you recognize the trigger that has already worked on you before. You stop seeing opportunity and start seeing the same reaction repeating again. What you called a smart decision was the exact moment you stopped thinking and started reacting. Thanks for watching Money Clarity Hub. Keep your mind clear and your money growing. Subscribe for more practical insights every week and check our playlists for more clarity and growth.